Welcome back, sports bettors. This is Jeff Makinen at DRF Sports. I'm here to handicap the Sunday afternoon NFL matchup between division leaders Houston and Baltimore, which will take place at 1 p.m. Eastern in Baltimore. Your DRF Sports subscription gives you all the latest matchups and betting lines, along with betting angles and line movements and the most accurate game simulator anywhere. And for a limited time, you can get your first week for just 1 penny. Use the promo code PENNY at sports.drf.com and let's start winning today. Baltimore is a 4-point favorite in this game, and that's where the line is pretty much held all week. The over-under has moved up from an opener of 49 to the current over-under of 51.5. Looking at our rating systems, both estimates project Baltimore wins. Estimate number 1 calls for a 28-21 Baltimore win. Estimate number 2, slightly closer at 25-24. Power line says Baltimore should be a 7-point favorite. So if I average those together, the average line would be around Baltimore by 5 and a 49 over under. So there is very little value either way, maybe a tiny bit on the under. Line seems to be set just about right. As I mentioned, both these teams do lead their respective divisions. Both are excellent running teams. Baltimore leads the league in rushing with 197 yards per game and 5.5 yards per attempt. They are led by their explosive playmaker, quarterback Lamar Jackson. Houston does run the ball well at 143 yards per game. This despite the fact that they did lose their main running back, their main starter, Lamar Miller, in training camp to an injury, a season-ending injury. So Carlos Hyde, Duke Johnson, and the boys have been doing a nice job with keeping the Houston running game afloat. Houston also has the running ability of Deshaun Jackson, which helps out. Into the betting angles, one system here is a contrarian system that does favor Houston. Play against home teams, Baltimore in this case, off a road win against a division rival, a top-level team playing a team with a winning record in the second half of the season. All these apply to Baltimore, and over the last 10 seasons, that trend has actually been 24-5 to fade that hot team, so that would favor Houston. On the other side of the equation, we do have a couple here that favor Baltimore. Similar type contrarian system here. Play against road teams, often upset one as an underdog, with a winning record playing another winning team in the second half of the season. So in this case, in Houston's last game, they technically were the underdog and did pull the quote-unquote upset versus the Jaguars in London. So when you factor those two systems together, they kind of balance each other out. Another thing here, this one does seem pretty important in a game like this. Houston, in the second half of the season, when playing a team against the winning record, over the last 3 seasons, they have lost all 6 games against the spread when that has happened. In this case, the average score 10.5 to 29.7, so nearly a 20-point defeat in that trend. So that is relatively important as we look at this game. Looking at the betting action here, 58% of the action favors Baltimore, 42% favors Houston, nothing crazy there. On the over-under side, whopping 92% do take the over, so that is interesting. And it does coincide with the total moving up from 49 to 51.5. So a lot of public action there jumping on the over. In the injury section, there are a couple of key injuries that stand out here for Houston. J.J. Watt was lost for the season with a pectoral injury back at the end of October. They did play without Watt in the Jacksonville game, but I do believe against a quarterback like Lamar Jackson in this explosive offense, that could really hurt them here. Will Fuller, also the long ball threat, second receiver for Houston, is doubtful as well with his hamstring injury. So those are a couple of key injuries to look at. Overall, in this game, my lean would be to Baltimore. They are playing well. They're at home, and Houston does seem to be banged up a little bit. And the fact is, Houston also has that negative trend, which they don't play well on the road against good teams in the late in the season. So overall, I do like Baltimore to cover the 4. This is Jeff Makinen. Thanks for watching. Twitter handle @SportsDBExpert. Best of luck this Sunday afternoon.